All right, welcome back to another 2 Plus podcast episode. I'm trying something different today where we make more of a narrative battle report. Many people play Warhammer for the drama and for the excitement and for a story to come out of the battle. So, in this sense, and with a lot of people looking for shorter form battle reports, I'm going to give you today a narrative driven report of the most recent game I played, a 2,000 point battle between Mike from this channel playing Dwarfs, 2,000 points, and Lizardmen. So if you look at the front, we set up in the snow, hills on each side with deployment forests, a lot of open space. I set up the cold ones on my extreme left, Rippers and Slan out of sight in support. The Saurus block set up center right, flanked by the Croxagore and Stegodon and supported by a Skink Priest. Scouting skinks were set up on the center left and far right flanks. Mike had an organ gun and hammers opposite the cold ones. He had Iron Drakes, Bolt Thrower, more Iron Drakes, a King, and the Thunderers in the center with a Stone Thrower, a Grudge Thrower behind. His King was here supporting them on the right. Longbeards, Gyrocopters, and a Bolt Thrower were on a hill to counter the Skinks. The early exchanges were ineffective. The poison wind and fire of the Lizardmen no match for Gromril armor. In return, bolts kissed only air and stones flew southward, black fire and thunder weak against armored hides. Taking up the slack on the right flank, the squad of gyrocopters bombed the scouting skinks into submission, finishing them off with brimfire. On the other wing, regimental Cole Ones marched across the battlefield to be intercepted by forward rangers, who picked off two but were turned back by the organization of the Lizardmen veteran cavalry, eventually falling as the Slan threw its considerable weight into the fray. The Stegodon marched through the middle, invulnerable due to its armor and magical protection, while the Croxagore also shrugged off heavy small arms fire. An enraged dwarf king threw himself at the other advancing skinks, who promptly fled, leaving the king open. Back to the left, antsy Ripidactyls made an ill-timed charge on the hammerers in search of toads, knocked back by the Rune of Confusion, and were clubbed from the air. Sensing the flank turning, the Slan magically transported magically transported the cold ones past an abandoned house, marching through behind them to escape the king's bodyguards from reaching them. On the right flank, the Saurus beat back the Longbeards in the first round of combat before the Gyrocopters hit the flank, and the Longbeard champion felled the Saurus boss, and the rest were caught on the run. In the center, the Skink Hero and Stegodon King went back and forth with minor wounds before the Croxagore helped push the King backwards. The Slan, now close to the action, plagued the King with rusty armor, and the hero, who had missed widely many times, landed all blows and squeezed through a lucky strike to fell the Dwarf General. Back to their left flank, the Skink swung behind the lines, picked off Iron Drakes and an Engineer before holding up the Hammerers for a turn, before themselves turning tail and running from the board. The bolt throwers, up until now missing everything, killed the skink priest caught out in the open. Unopposed, the Stegodon now veered right, smashing a unit of Thunderers before running through the Gyrocopters and then into the Longbeards, killing half. Finally, the Slan and Croxagore hid in the forest as the war machines continued to fire away to no avail, the Runesmith fizzling a late wind blast with stouty Longbeards falling back to a safe distance as the battle ended in stalemate.